The weight loss shot everyone can't stop discussing. One injection, weekly appointments, the allure of an effortless makeover. Ozempic tore through Hollywood like a spark and dry brush. Yet behind the glamour and polished images, something far more troubling emerged. What happens when drastic weight change shifts from blessing to red flag? Today we're examining 10 public figures whose experiences with Ozempic expose what unfolds when thinness becomes fixation, and how that same pressure is quietly bleeding into everyday life far beyond the celebrity bubble. And wait until you reach the final transformation, the one that left even medical professionals wondering if Ozempic had finally crossed a dangerous line. 10. Scott Disick. Scott Disick once represented carefree indulgence. The longtime presence on Keeping Up with the Kardashians was known for his youthful look, extravagant habits, and easygoing charisma. But recent photos captured by paparazzi reveal someone almost unrecognizable. Scott's face appears depleted, his cheeks drawn tight, his gaze remote. The shift happened with startling speed. Fans saw it instantly. Did he just age a decade overnight? Became a recurring sentiment across social platforms. Though Scott hasn't acknowledged using Ozempic, the timeline parallels Hollywood's frenzy over weight loss injections. The physical clues are unmistakable. Swift slimming, sharp facial contours, washed out complexion. The expectation to uphold appearances within the Kardashian world is relentless. Scott's drastic change suggests he may have buckled under that relentless standard. In a circle where every pound, every crease, every perceived flaw becomes media ammunition and online analysis, Scott seemed caught between staying relevant and staying well. And ultimately, he may have surrendered both in chasing an image that was never truly his. He appears slimmer, yes, but he also appears burdened. And Scott's case is only the opening chapter. The next transformation rattled the public, not because of what was confessed, but because of what was firmly denied. 9. Adele. Adele astonished the world in 2020 with a 100-pound drop. The Grammy-winning icon revealed a shift so striking that many fans did a double take. The fuller silhouette she had long been known for had given way to a noticeably leaner shape. Adele has repeatedly rejected the idea that Ozempic played any role, insisting her results came from relentless effort. She described long days packed with workouts that included strength training, boxing sessions, long hikes, and intense cardio. She followed the cert food diet, choosing foods linked to metabolic regulation. Still, the pace and magnitude of her change ignited non-stop theories. To many onlookers, the transformation seemed almost too dramatic. Adele confronted the rumors head-on, explaining that her journey was rooted in coping with anxiety and panic attacks after her divorce. It was never about shedding pounds, she told Oprah. If I can make my body physically strong, maybe I can feel emotionally strong. Yet the whispers continue. Her experience, no matter how she achieved it, highlights the impossible expectations placed on public figures who must constantly justify the way their bodies evolve. The artist whose music captured heartbreak and survival with unmatched soul now finds herself defending something far more intimate: her right to change without approval, to grow without confession, to inhabit a body that shifts over time without offering the world a detailed accounting of every decision. The woman once celebrated as a symbol of self-acceptance now lives under endless examination. And while Adele's refusal fueled ongoing speculation, our next figure openly acknowledged using Ozempic and paid a price no one could give back. 8. Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson built her career by flipping expectations on their heads. Her size became part of her comedic identity, the larger-than-life heroine who got the romance, the scene stealer who made every line unforgettable. Then came what she called her year of health in 2020. Rebel shed more than 70 pounds. She spoke candidly about using Ozempic, describing it as a tool that helped manage what she called her endless craving for sweets. By 2025, Rebel appeared entirely transformed. The curves that once defined her on-screen persona were gone. In their place stood a slimmer silhouette that altered how Hollywood viewed her. Casting changed. The roles that had once been her territory, the quirky best friend and the lovable comedic force, began landing with other performers. She reshaped her body to feel stronger and healthier, but in doing so, she lost the very quality that made her stand out in a crowded industry. She defended her decision, explaining in interviews that her motivation centered on fertility and well-being rather than image. But beneath her words lingered a quiet ache. Hollywood had embraced her specifically because she broke the mold, had praised her because she brought something fresh to familiar roles. Once she aligned more closely with traditional beauty standards, the industry revealed a harsher truth. It celebrates difference only when it stays neatly contained, never when it risks altering the hierarchy of who is allowed to carry a film. Rebel transformed her body, but Hollywood transformed its perception of her, and while Rebel's shift changed her career, the next celebrity confronted something even more unsettling. 7. Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande should be basking in triumph. Her performance in Wicked earned glowing reviews and chatter about potential awards. Yet instead of enjoying her success, she found herself forced to explain her body at every public event. The change was impossible to overlook. Sharpened cheeks, pronounced collarbones, arms so slender they seemed delicate to the touch. At the 2025 BAFTA Film Awards, her appearance triggered instant worry. Doctors quoted in tabloids claimed she looked severely calorie deprived. Ariana spoke through tears during interviews. "I have been treated like an experiment since I was 16, she said. "I have heard every theory about what is supposedly wrong with me." She revealed that the time people claimed she looked her healthiest was actually the lowest point of her mental well-being, marked by antidepressants, poor eating habits, and drinking. Insiders from Wicked shared that the production pushed her to her limits, singing, dancing, endless rehearsals. The promotional circuit offered no opportunity to slow down. Ariana appears altered now, not just slimmer, but far away. The irony is heartbreaking. She achieved the role she had dreamed of her entire life, the part she had worked tirelessly to earn, only to have every interview, every premiere, every moment of victory overshadowed by strangers dissecting her appearance, questioning her decisions, and reducing her artistry to gossip about her calorie intake. She did not choose to fade. The pressure forced her hand. Ariana's shrinking presence set social media ablaze with concern, but the next transformation may be the most polarizing of all, because it came from someone whose entire public identity revolved around embracing every inch of herself. 6. Lizzo created a global movement around loving oneself. For years, she stood at the forefront of body positivity, teaching millions to honor their bodies in any form. Her message remained steady: "You are complete, exactly as you are." Then she shed 60 pounds. The shift stunned fans. Some applauded her dedication, others felt let down, saying she had walked away from the very message she championed. Lizzo spoke openly about the uproar. She acknowledged trying Ozempic briefly in early 2024, but said she stopped because she disliked how it made her feel. Most of her weight loss, she said, came from changes in her diet and rigorous training. She moved away from veganism toward high-protein meals. She trained 3 times a week. She walked, practiced Pilates, and played pickleball. By January 2025, she had reduced her body fat by 16%. Her face looked slimmer, her silhouette transformed. But the backlash was swift. Comments calling her sunken or too thin replaced the insults she had faced in the past. Lizzo stood firm. Body positivity is not about standing still. It is about loving yourself enough to grow. She had spent years teaching that worth has nothing to do with size, that beauty exists at every weight, that self-love means embracing yourself in any shape. Yet when she chose to change her own body, those same beliefs were turned back on her, making it painfully clear that society does not truly want body positivity. It wants bodies to remain in the categories where it believes they belong. But the question remains, did she change for her own well-being, or did outside expectations finally break through? Lizzo's transformation split her audience, but our next celebrity's weight change came with a medical diagnosis that made the decision far more complicated than simple appearance. 5. Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates spent decades dominating film and television. The Academy Award winner never allowed her size to dictate her capability. She portrayed killers, caretakers, fighters, and women carved from steel, roles that required sheer force of presence rather than thinness. Then she shed 100 pounds. The shift unfolded over 7 years, with Ozempic entering the picture during the final stretch. Her type 2 diabetes diagnosis in 2017 made the medication a medical necessity, but the visual change stunned audiences. At recent public events, Kathy appeared almost delicate. The commanding figure that once filled every frame seemed to have receded. She spoke openly about her process, emphasizing discipline and effort rather than relying solely on medication. Yet her appearance suggested a different narrative. Her face, once rich with expression, looked markedly sunken. Her sturdy build, long a symbol of her screen power, appeared fragile. For years, Kathy Bates showed the world that skill outranks appearance, that presence outweighs traditional beauty, that award-winning performances come from emotional depth rather than slender physiques. But even she was not immune to cultural pressure, and in losing the weight, she may have lost part of the physical force that made her so unforgettable. Fans voiced worry. This was not simple slimming. It felt like a transformation that stripped away something essential. She reached the goal she set. But what did it cost the persona that defined her legacy? Kathy's transformation seemed to diminish decades of formidable presence. But the next star's fading had an entirely different consequence, one that left a whole generation without the representation they had clung to. 4. Barbie Ferreira brought something truly uncommon to the screen. As Kat Hernandez in Euphoria, she delivered a performance grounded in honesty. Her body disrupted Hollywood's rigid standards, and young viewers recognized themselves in her. She was not comic relief or a supporting afterthought. She was layered, sexual, self-assured. Then she began to vanish. By 2024, images revealed a dramatically slimmed Barbie. Her figure had diminished. Her face appeared sharply defined, almost hollow. Fans were heartbroken. Unrecognizable became the dominant reaction. Accusations of Ozempic use flooded her posts. Barbie never confirmed or denied the rumors. She simply stepped back from the discussion, allowing her altered appearance to respond in her place. For many young viewers, she had been a revelation. She showed them a character who looked like them, who owned her sexuality, who embraced confidence without being reduced to her size. But as Barbie shifted into conventional thinness, those same fans absorbed a harsh truth. Even the rare representation they receive is fragile, fleeting, always at risk of disappearing with one drastic change. The actress who once embodied body diversity had assimilated into the very mold she once broke. Representation matters, and when visible plus-size performers shrink into Hollywood's traditional ideal, the message is clear: your body is only welcome until it is expected to change. Barbie may feel stronger, she may feel healthier, but for the viewers who found empowerment in her, the transformation felt like losing an ally. From Los Angeles to London's music scene, the Ozempic wave has no boundaries, and our next transformation revealed what can happen when rapid weight loss shifts from striking to truly alarming. 3. Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams once commanded every stage he stepped onto. The British pop icon radiated charisma. His energy was electric. His grin could disarm anyone. Then new photos surfaced. Robbie's face appeared sharply thinned. His cheeks looked caved in. His skin carried an almost ghostly tint. One fan said he resembled a survivor of a desert storm. Robbie acknowledged using weight loss medication, calling it a miracle for dropping pounds. But while some praised the results, others reacted with alarm. His shift was not slow, it was abrupt, extreme, unsettling. The man who once exuded vigor now looked depleted. Critics argued the slimming made him look significantly older. There is a line between healthy change and concerning transformation. Robbie's seemed to cross it. British tabloids that once applauded his unruly antics and boyish charm began printing before and after photos that suggested he had lost more than weight. He appeared to have lost the brightness in his eyes, the warmth in his smile, the spark that made Robbie Williams the magnetic performer who could fill stadiums and stir emotions across generations. He reached the physical goal he set, but in doing so, he seemed to lose the vitality that defined him. The medication achieved its purpose, but perhaps it worked too well. Robbie's hollowed appearance shocked fans around the world. But what happens when someone not only uses Ozempic, but aggressively defends it while attacking anyone who questions the drug? That is where our next story becomes uncomfortable. 2. Kelly Osbourne. Kelly Osbourne stepped out from her mother's shadow with grit. The reality star turned fashion commentator made headlines for her dramatic weight drop. Then she made bigger headlines for fiercely defending Ozempic with startling hostility. Kelly praised the drug's effectiveness, then lashed out at critics. She claimed that anyone speaking against it was either secretly taking it or angry they couldn't afford it. The remarks ignited backlash. Diabetics struggling to obtain their medication during shortages pushed back hard. Kelly's privilege became impossible to ignore, but her physical change told a deeper story. Kelly shed a substantial amount of weight, her features sharpening noticeably. The round-faced daughter from the Osbournes seemed to vanish. She looked entirely transformed, not just slimmer, but more severe. Seeing both Kelly and her mother Sharon undergo such dramatic Ozempic shifts exposed something unsettling about what fame passes down. It is not just connections or wealth that move through celebrity families. The same ruthless expectations, the same drive for thinness, the same inability to identify when striving for perfection becomes self-harm can circulate through generations like an inherited burden. Sharon's earlier warning about going too gaunt now seemed prophetic. Kelly headed down the same road, but without Sharon's restraint. She defended Ozempic as if it were a personal triumph, yet her appearance hinted at something darker, a family cycle of transformation that pushed too far. Kelly didn't just lose weight, she seemed to lose her sense of when to stop. Kelly's combative support for Ozempic was troubling, but nothing could prepare us for the final story, the transformation that became Hollywood's most chilling reminder of what happens when you cannot turn back. 1. Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne has never hesitated to speak plainly. The reality TV figure became one of the first public personalities to openly discuss her experience with Ozempic, and what she shared was alarming. Sharon dropped more than 40 pounds in a matter of months. At first, it felt like everything she wanted. The weight fell away easily, but the side effects followed quickly. Nausea, exhaustion, vomiting so intense she could barely function. Then came the discovery that stunned her. She could not regain the weight she lost. "I went too far," she admitted. Her metabolism had changed in ways doctors could not fully explain. Food no longer stayed with her. Her body no longer remembered how to hold weight. Sharon's raw honesty became a warning that echoed throughout Hollywood. She became the canary in the coal mine, the first to publicly acknowledge what many whispered behind the scenes. Ozempic's promise of effortless change came with a harsh price. Once certain boundaries are crossed, the body may never return to its former balance. The illusion of control disappears when chemistry alters biology at its core. Today, Sharon appears slender to the point of fragility. Her once vibrant frame now looks depleted. She discontinued Ozempic, but the aftermath remained. The drug that promised mastery had taken that control from her. Sharon did not just lose weight, she lost the ability to determine what happened next. Which celebrity shift shocked you the most? Share your thoughts below and remember to subscribe for more behind the scenes Hollywood stories.